The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Barry Church, Hek'ma Harrison, and Newy Scruggs.
Players Lounge for the 1-0 Dallas Cowboys right here on DallasCowboys.com radio. You know the team is Hek'ma Harrison, former Cowboy safety Barry Church. I'm Newy Scruggs. We are on to week 2 as the Cowboys get ready for the home opener, Jerry World, against the New Orleans Saints. So the Saints went out there whooping up on Carolina in week 1. They sure did. My gosh.
Yes, they did.
What's my man's name? Bryce
Young.
Young.
Bryce Young.
He ain't looking too good.
At
least you was a first round pick. You got you a bag early.
Nobody's gonna cry for you if you're Bryce Young.
I feel bad for him from the standpoint is the guy that they passed on you for
is
not just playing well. He looks like the next type of the next batch of quarterback star in the league. Therein lies the problem. It's like
But that, I asked a question about those two, and people have made a reference to those two guys in their draft class, and it seems to me like one guy fell to a better situation. When you think about C.J. Stroud going to Houston, the offensive line is there. The defense is obviously there. And I'm not saying if Bryce Young was in that system, he'd have more success, but he sure would have more weapons. Yeah. And so, I think his struggle in Carolina is going to be documented. But, offensive line-wise, defense-wise, they're just a bad team.
Yeah, it's ugly.
Yeah, it surely doesn't help out when you have when you're the worst team in the league, but your first round pick has been traded away. So some of that is out of his control. Firing the head coach, but fans don't care on Sunday.
I don't hand that.
They out there like Yoda, do or do not. There is no try.
There is no try.
These are just excuses. I'm giving them excuses.
47-10 is what the Saints beat the Carolina Panthers by. Saints coming in here. Dennis Allen's their head coach, LD Bell High School. So, fun times there. I was out yesterday as you guys did the show. I was in Cleveland. Let me say, wow.
Like in a good way for the atmosphere, or it was just...
Well, first off, it was my first Browns game there since '95 when I lived up there and worked at WEWS. So it was old stadium. Belichick was the coach. So my first we parked next to some people immediately. Man, hey, have some food. Well, okay.
Don't mind if I do.
If you insist. Nobody called me out Roker this time.
I was about to say, okay.
Nobody called me out Roker, but my brother ate good, and they're just good fans, man. Cowboy fans can't appreciate the downtroddenness of this franchise. They've not won a championship since 1964. There was no Super Bowl in 1964. Jim Brown was on the team in 1964. Jim Brown has passed away. This is hard time. When Dusty Rhodes is hard time,
baby.
Cleveland Brown fan know about hard times.
Spreading like the flu.
Right, going, winless seasons. But they are there, bro. Mm-hmm. They are there, and they hung in there as long as they could, and then they just realized, nah, bro, it's time to beat this traffic. Time to get out of here.
They done seen this song before. Seen this dance before.
They booed him at halftime. They were all on Deshaun Watson. They're like, man, this guy's not worth the $230 million is guaranteed. They were on them. When you lose them, bro, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. But the Cowboys were that good, man, that they had them. You think about it. The Cowboy fans had them booing them in their own spot. And once again, Cowboy, how did they get all these tickets?
We everywhere.
Some stars in there, man. Everywhere.
My hotel full of them. And then it was wild to see Cowboy fan with Cleveland fan, married together and everything. This is.
They travel well.
They do. They are strong. I just kind of just shook my head one more time. Like even here in a place where there's really two types of fans in Northeast Ohio. They're Browns fans and Steelers fans.
Yeah, that's it.
But Cowboy fan to roll up on it, Northeast Ohio like that, man. Like, wow.
Let me ask you this: for you as a former player, which stadium that you would go to, whether it be in the NFC East, let's say NFC East, that you would go and they would have always the most Cowboy fans?
Man, I would have to say it was either Washington.
Yeah.
They was always packed house. And then we were representing New York as well. It'd be kind of a 50-50. But Washington, I mean, the whole front, that little bowl, not the upper bowl, but the whole bottom bowl, be Cowboys fans all over the place, man. Crazy, they traveled up there.
Heck, last time I went up there, man, Ubers would come up there and drop folks off with a bunch of Cowboy jerseys. Man.
Yeah.
And then they were tailgating with the Washington fans, too. Hey, man.
It's love.
But it was just
they already know.
We here.
Well, it was like your family. I mean, it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Your family showed up there. Then the most disrespectful thing I ever saw. One of the year I went up there, John Wall was still playing for the Washington Wizards. Yeah. He was the star of the team. Yeah. They bring the dude down there for the game. He show up in an Emmitt Smith jersey.
I was there for that one.
LeBron did the same thing, didn't he?
But you were on. Okay, you the Washington star.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
You're the star of the city.
Sir.
They make you a guest, and you show up in your Emmitt jersey.
That.
No,
bro.
Crazy.
I mean.
We was laughing on the sideline.
Yeah. Bryce Harper could not go to a Eagles game wearing a Cowboy jersey, even though he grew up a Cowboy fan in Vegas. Now he switched, but you can't do that there.
Yeah.
They will jump on you there. Jalen Hurts tried to wear a Houston Astros hat.
Don't do it.
Right. They let him
reconsider.
Retire that.
Yeah.
Retire that.
Make it the one and only.
Right. Wear it when you back home.
You get this one time.
But not in D.C. He go flex on the sideline with a pass. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, he was on our sideline too.
Wow.
I mean, could you imagine Dirk showing up at a Cowboy game when he was the Mavs star with a doggone Washington jersey? I mean, right.
Nah. Got a McNabb jersey on it.
Yeah, nah.
Right. I mean,
they'll boot him out of town.
Oh, it went over with.
Boot him out of town.
Right, Church. How would you have felt if you saw something like
feel disrespected?
Right.
We brought you. So they usually come to the locker room before hey, what's up, fellas? Hey, good luck out there. Da. Yeah, I'd have felt mad disrespected if it came.
That's a DC, man. It was rough like that, but. My takeaway, I just want to start right here, was Mike McCarthy is not getting enough credit for what transpired there. Dak gets his contract before the game, handles it fine. Everyone's happy for him, so that drama is put to bed. But Mike lived with that all off season long. Never said one thing that besmirched the player or the organization. He stayed above it, which I think has to have mad respect in the locker room for how he handled CD and how he handled Dak. His business. I mean, he said everything right. The two rookies, I was very concerned about them. Heck, I mentioned it many times.
Right.
Those rookie offensive linemen against a defensive player of the year and Myles Garrett, they did give Guyton help. You didn't notice them. Dak Prescott was able to get his job done. The run game was able to do what they needed to do. I'm just looking at the new defense and what Mike Zimmer put in there, that he was able to do his job. They were on Deshaun. I mean, Deshaun Watson looked like a shell of himself. Yeah. Man. He looks like a bust at this point in time for the Cleveland Browns. Special teams, Turk finally returned to touchdown. I mean, all three phases, they dominated. But we're not hearing about Mike McCarthy as a head coach. Yeah. To me, I come in here and just like, and I didn't talk to Jerry after the game, but Jerry, with all due respect, forget Micah Parsons. When are you going to take care of your head coach? Because he has this locker room playing for him. Yeah. He's got everyone on the same page. The way they praised Dak afterwards, and these guys were all for him. So there's no divide there. He's created, Church, you can speak to this. He's created a locker room where everybody is there. You were in a locker room where, not everybody felt the same way about the quarterback as Drew Bledsoe let us all know over the weekend.
No, that's factual. That is factual.
So what he's created, Hek'ma, Barry, if this guy is not here next year, I don't know where they go, because he's done a heck of a job. And game one used to be a Jason Garrett special where they would have got beat. They did not get beat. They came out there and whooped that trick, man.
No, they did. Go ahead.
I didn't want to stop him.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
I tell you what. The smile on your face with Jerry when Dak's contract was announced and you're standing there, I'm like, look at that smile, man. Yeah. He already, I knew
way
it.
up top with it.
You should have heard it on the Players Lounge first. Yeah. That's all he's thinking right there. The smile says it all.
Yeah. He played us. He was playing everybody, man.
Not to change the subject, but I got to tell you, man, that was a great picture of you standing next to Jerry and that smile on your face. But you're right, man. I think in all three phases of the game, as you mentioned, the Cowboys came out and they played not like they were having to get into a rhythm. First game of the season, you're used to teams kind of like a warm-up period because this is like a preseason game for all intents and purposes.
First-time starters going out
exactly.
There.
So this is you getting in rhythm, but these guys had no rust to knock off. And the thing that I was most proudest of, man, is in that first half, you have a 20-3 lead. And we've seen this team, we've seen previous coaches before blow a 17-point lead. All right? Because what are you doing? You're trying to do too much. And I thought that for Mike McCarthy, because this was truly a game that could have been easily a 40-burger if you just keep your foot on the gas and keep pressing them. But protecting that lead, and in his interview yesterday with the media, he said something I thought that was very important. He said, I maintain the offense. I handle the offense. So on the other side of the defense, I got to have somebody that really, obviously I'm paraphrasing what he said, have somebody that can also operate as a head coach. And having a guy like Dan Quinn and now, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
when you have those kinds of defensive coordinators and guys that can handle their business and you can do what you need to do as far as making sure I protect this defense as well. Not going out here and airing it out. I keep the ball on the ground. And look, the second half left a lot to be desired. I mean, it was really a tale of two halves. But to me, I saw Mike McCarthy saying, I'm going to protect this lead at all costs. But, man, Mike was in his bag. His play calling, he did not allow Dak to put the ball in harm's way. And to me, it's like, okay, sometimes you can go out there because your back is against the wall and try and do too much right off the back. He didn't do that. He protected his quarterback. He protected his offense. He played everything within the structure that he said he was going to do it. And in the end, getting this 33-17 win is just indicative of him and the kind of coach that he is.
Yeah. Mike McCarthy, he's a hell of a coach. I mean, we could just call a spade a spade. The man knows how to get the locker room all behind him in one unison, like you just said, Newy. Everybody's playing like their hair is on fire, and everybody's playing for one another. And you love to see it. There was no selfishness in there. Guys, you don't see, before periods, you would see guys, I got to make this sack. I got to go up the field. I got to get this guy. Everybody was in their lanes where they were supposed to play. Playing team, whether it's defense, offense, special teams, it was a combined victory out there. So, to me, Mike McCarthy deserves a ton of credit, not only for getting his team to go out there and play, because like you said in the past, we've seen teams come out there and either be sleepwalking or just not prepared for the first game. His team as a total was ready, and they went out there and they gave it to the Cleveland Browns. Now, there's some things here and there that, they got to clean up. Once again, the penalties were a little bit high. He had 11 penalties out there. You like to see this team get better on third down. I think they were 4 of 14 on third down. So you like to see this team get a little bit better. But Dak didn't turn the ball over. The quarterback was, basically protected the entire game. There was 3 sacks, but it was kind of just, for the most part of the game, Dak was cool, calm, and collected throughout the entire thing. Now, when we talk about extending and getting my man in here long term, I still think there's some questions that my man needs to answer. And preferably, we're not going to be able to see it now, but in the postseason, we need to see those questions be answered still, in my opinion. We understand that this man is a hell of a coach during the regular season. 3 straight seasons with 12-plus victories. That's not an easy feat, so I don't want to take anything away from him when it comes to that. But when it comes to the playoff performances, we all understand. We've been around this organization a long time. It's what you do in the postseason. That's all that really matters when it comes to the stars.
So we've spoken to this before here on the show. You talk about the playoffs. Mike is dying for the sins of other people as well. And that's a part of the problem, is it all gets lumped together. And, in some ways, the owner kind of gets off scot-free, even though he's been here for all of it. But we blame everything on this one head coach. Like, no, guess what? Bill had the issues here. Jason had the issues here. Wade had. It's been an organizational problem for a while. And that's what I kind of called out last year. It's like, hey, look, yes, Mike is the coach here. But doggone it, after a while, we got 30 years of proof. It didn't matter who you bring in here. We keep seeing the same old thing. And at some point in time, when the playoffs come around, if I were a player, and maybe Dak should go down here and call Jason Kidd and Dirk Nowitzki, because they all those guys in 2011 went to Mark Cuban and said, shut up. Don't say anything. Nothing. Why are you adding fuel to the fire? I think this is it. No. How about you just say nothing? Yeah. Say nothing. Did you know what Mark said last year during the run that Mavs made to the final? No.
Nothing. Yeah.
I'd love to see just one time when Jerry and Steven said nothing. And if they had to say anything at all, just say, I've got belief in our head coach, got belief in our players that we can go where we want to go.
But know that ain't going to happen, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You say that, I'm just saying.
Okay, so Hek'ma, you're correct.
Yeah.
And so since you've been doing it your way for 30 years now and you keep finding yourself in the same land of disappointment, why not change it up and just be the dude who just, you know what? Hey, guys, I'm going to shock all of you.
Yeah.
I'm going to zip it. I'm just going to zip it and watch it. I will talk to you after our final game. Boy, wouldn't that be a great challenge? Because I'll tell you this, Hek'ma. It was the first round series in 2011 when the Mavs played Portland. Everyone was picking the Mavs to get upset, even though they were the favorite team. And they went in, had like a 20-point lead against the Blazers up there in Portland. I was there. And Brandon Roy went off, and LaMarcus all day came back. And it was some tough calls. And Cuban was outside the locker room. He was hot. And, boy, we had that mic ready.
Hot.
What'd you say now?
Yeah.
Come on. We here. And he got close. Like, nope. And he didn't. He didn't. I guess he listened to the play, but he he didn't do it. And then after that, it was smooth sailing. They ended up winning that series. Of course, everything else was amazing. But I would love to see Jerry, if they can get back to back to your point about the postseason. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, why don't you just do your part and be quiet and let the players and let the coaches do what they need to.
Jerry is not one of the Roonies. He is not. You go. I mean, this is. He doesn't operate like that. I mean, there are several teams in the NFL that you wouldn't have any clue who ownership is because they don't talk. You see him in the grocery store, wouldn't even know you're standing next to him. Jerry Jones he's the polarizing one. Yeah. He is the one that everybody knows is the ringleader. I don't know where you were at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time when the news came out that Dak got the contract. Well, it was 9 your time. Well, 11, whatever it was.
I was working at the hotel gym, but when we got to the stadium, we all waited waited for him to come out the locker room.
But Jerry knows exactly what he's doing. Everybody's getting ready to see the week 1 games coming on at 12 o'clock, and then newsflash, Dak signs his deal, and then everything shifts from opening weekend to Jerry Jones, the star.
Highest paid player.
But I'm saying that has been his MO for years. He's done that with players' contracts. He's done that with schedule announcements. That is who he is, and it's not going to change now. And the thing is, when you have a team, these guys have to have thick skin when it relates to the media. Yep. Barry Church, better than anybody that you have to. And you know that there's going to be talk because you have an owner that's going to be out front. The coach, he does his own television. I mean, he does his own radio show. Yeah. Jerry does. How many owners have their own radio show? So, look, the things that people complain about Jerry and all that just adds more fuel to the fire because that makes him who he is. And this team is going to have to win in spite of all of that.
And Hek'ma, I come back to this, and I always say, show me who's winning Super Bowls operating like this now. Clark Hunt's not doing it.
Nope. No, he's not. And I mean, the luxury that the Hunt family has is one patty. You could do it like that when you have some of the best players.
An eraser. No matter what happens.
He's a great equalizer when it comes down to all of that. So I agree with you. And for sometimes, like, you look at it, it's like, come on, do we have to do this one more time? Like, we're in the crux of it right now. And talking about Mike McCarthy, like, this is a guy that shouldn't have to sing for his meal.
No.
This is a guy that's shown you, and if he's paying for the sins of other coaches, when does that stop on his watch? Because he is a championship level coach.
You saw what Sean Payton did this year, last week, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Sean Payton got his quarterback. He didn't look good. You start looking at Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy. You start putting it side to side together. Mike is held one way, and Sean Payton is looked at as his genius in the lab the other way. What's Sean done since Drew Brees exited the building? Nothing. Making $18 million right now. And I like Sean. But there's this perception that Sean is so much better than Mike McCarthy.
Without people looking at the record to then realize that they're the same.
And people saying, well, McCarthy had Aaron Rodgers, he had Brett Favre. And I go back and say this. Show me the great NFL coach in the Hall of Fame that had a bum quarterback. There's only one dude where you can say, hey, man, you had some okay dudes that I can think of in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That would be Joe Gibbs. who won Super Bowls with Joe Theismann,
Absolutely.
Doug Williams, and Mark Rippon. Other than that, everybody else pretty much is rolling with a dude who's got Hall of Fame numbers.
Absolutely.
You know, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Don Shula. Bill Belichick's going to go in there in the hall one day. He's got a guy. Bud Grant's in there. Frank Charles. I mean, you pretty much going to need a dude.
Yeah.
Bill Walsh, you got a guy. Bill Walsh had Joe Montana and he had Steve Young. Those were his guys. So you're not getting there with just some Johnny come lately.
Let me ask you. I mean, so Barry, that is, you actually approve of the way that the front office is handling Mike McCarthy, and your thing is like, you got to show improve. The regular season is well and good. But
I don't see anything wrong with saying, okay, look, man, we understand your greatness and how you are as a play caller and how you're the quarterback whisperer. We understand all that. But we also understand the past, 3 seasons we've been one and done or maybe gotten to the divisional. And Jerry Jones has already said this time and time again, I don't have time to to do all these other things. Yeah. I don't have that.
We're gonna take a break. And
I don't see no problem with it.
We're gonna take a break.
You win, you get it. You don't?
When we come back,
tough, boy.
When we come
no
back,
problem with that one.
I'm going to ask you one simple question.
Let's do it.
About what you just said here. It's easy. It's easy. Let's ask you one simple question. Do that next, right here on the program. Brought to you by Aristocrat, right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys!
Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Kyle Yeomans here, sharing that same team that brought you Buffalo, bringing NFL casino games that show America's team on and off the reels. Aristocrat is changing the game with a new experience. Football fans, this means you can pick your team and play your team. Check out the Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Gambling problem? Please contact the U.S. National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Short read, guys. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
There it is.
That is.
Short and sweet, man.
Short and sweet.
And by the way, to recap, our Yeti Cool customer that we had picked over the weekend was the quarterback, Dak Prescott. 16 of 27, 161 yards, 1 touchdown. And you know what? The Cowboys got the victory. And number 4 for the Cowboys looked a lot better than the number 4 on the other side all day long. So that was the cool customer we spoke about. And the other cool customer I was talking about was Tyler Guyton, your left tackle.
Yeah,
he was cool. Cool customer, man. What an outstanding day for the rookie. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to talk to him in the locker room. We had to get over and get CeeDee Lamb, but what a great performance for him as a rookie and Connor Beebe. And he was praised by Tyler Smith and Dak Prescott as well.
So we gave out game balls yesterday on the Players Lounge, and I gave a game ball to my emo brother, Cooper Beebe. That's who I gave.
Represent Emo.
Yes, I represent it. I represent it for
you know what, man? Look, the fact that we were not talking about them speaks volumes for the players, speaks volumes for the coaching staff. O-line coaches and Mike McCarthy as well is calling the plays. So, yeah, a lot of credit. Which now I come back to you, Barry Church, as we spoke about last segment right here on the Players Lounge, brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming. You said let Mike play it out. You said you had no problem with it. You're a former player.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like to go in the final year of a deal, having to sing for your supper. Is it not disrespectful, Mike McCarthy, who's only had one head coach in this league win more games than him in the regular season the last 3 years? One, Mike McCarthy, who came in here and took over for Jason Garrett's mess and has done a better job than Jason did in 10 years. Is it not disrespectful, a dude who's like number 17 or 18 on the all-time wins list?
What's their playoff records? Garrett and Mike, when being just with the Cowboys head coach.
But Mike, with Jason's 10 years here, I don't know.
Well, as of right now, they're around the same, I would assume. Right?
Okay.
It's probably win-law. Being a Cowboy, I would assume they're around the same. Chris Beam, you can correct me. You can go through the whole handy-dandy notebook. But back to your question, I would say, if I'm Mike, if I'm Big Mike, yes, I would see that as being disrespectful. Because if I'm a player, I'm going out there, I'm risking injury, even though he's not risking injury. If I'm a player going out there, I want security, just like everybody else out there. So yes, I would say that would be disrespectful if I'm McCarthy. But I also understand it from the other point of view when you talk about Mr. Jones in the front office. The past 3 years, yes, you've always gotten us into contention, always gotten us into the playoffs, and that's how you started. That's how you get to the bowls, to get to the playoffs to begin with. So we understand regular season, you bring us the opportunity to at least get to the tournament, and that's all you can ask for in the regular season. But when we get to the playoffs, that's when we have some issues. Like going into that Green Bay game, that might have been the worst playoff loss in Cowboys history. If I'm not mistaken, it could have been.
No, New York Giants.
And you were a big-time favorite. Oh, yeah. That was bad, too.
New York Giants, that was bad.
Yeah, they was 13-3. Yeah,
that
was pretty bad, too.
Go ahead.
But you're at home, and you're supposed to take care of business against a Jordan Love who was his first year starting.
Yeah.
And you went and you got dismantled. Now, I'm not putting everything squarely on you, but as a head coach, you're the umbrella for the whole entire team. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, whatever the case may be, you're the umbrella there. You're going to take the shrapnel. So to me, after that playoff performance, and then to come in here week one, you did get the job done. I still have questions that need to be answered, especially when you get to the postseason.
Go ahead.
And I agree with what you're saying, because I think that is the moment that resonates with you as a former player and as fans. You're like, how could you not be prepared for that moment? Because you're at home, the record spoke for itself, your home record, and you come in and you just did not look ready in that instance. And I think that's the one thing that you've heard Jerry continue to repeat about the Green Bay loss. Like it resonated with him that the team wasn't ready. I'm just going to say this, man. Obviously, I don't have any, anecdotal accounts as a player or anything like that. But I will say, when my uncle was coaching for the Miami Dolphins, this was Don Shula's last season. This was 95, 96. And those coaches were on edge because they knew, like, he could be gone at any second. And Huizinga, all the things that they were going on at that time. And they lose in the playoffs. And he hears about being fired on ESPN, not from ownership, And, like, the families are involved in this, too. And so Big Mike is doing his job, not only for himself, but also for those coaches that are on his staff. And to me, the job that they've done and what they've poured into this organization and these players, what they've been able to do with the talent that they have, it says to me that they shouldn't even be in this situation where they're having to feel disrespected. Look, Mike is going to have to prove it, right? The coach's salary is not tied to the salary cap. They could do this at any time, at any moment. To me, if you have a team that's going out performing like this, say they do it again, you have a high caliber performance, you go into Baltimore. I don't. As it continues to go, you see this team responding, and there's no drop off. You got to take care of it, because at the end of the day, what you need is the regular season to even prepare for the postseason.
But that's been the same thing for the past 3 seasons, right? Being successful during the regular season, having these runs, and then getting to the playoffs and not performing. Yes. Out of those 4 playoff games, there was one that team looked prepared for. The Tampa Bay game?
Yeah.
San Francisco, the first one. They didn't look good. They got smacked 14-0 in the first half.
1-3.
Yeah.
And then you look at the second playoff game against San Francisco. Did they look prepared in that game? Right. Green Bay, did they look prepared in that game? So Tampa Bay, to me, was the only one where they were in the postseason and they came out ready to roll. And that's the question that needs to be solved. We know what the regular season is. Yeah. He's going to give you 12 victories. Yeah. He's going to have his team ready for the role. But has he given any evidence, time proof and consistency, that when you get to that playoff round, that team is going to come out ready to roll?
So now this is now to me what I'm hearing is a trust issue in the biggest moments.
I think that's what the question that we've all been having when it came to McCarthy is the postseason.
So he's 1-3 as a head coach. Yes. Okay, he's 1-3
with the Cowboys.
1-3 with the Cowboys. Okay, Jason Garrett was 2-3.
Okay,
Jason Garrett like 10 years to do this. I didn't lie.
It's good to know. It's context.
So it is. Hey, I spent a lot of time living in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And when I got there was no pro sports in North Carolina. It was college basketball was the thing. For years, it was all about Dean Smith is really good, but he can't win the big one. And he finally did win it and ended up winning 2. Mike Krzyzewski, 5 straight Final Fours, could not win the national championships. A lot of people got a monkey on your back. The great Tom Landry here, next year's champion. That was what was hung around them forever and a day. Yeah. And my thought process is, give me a guy that I believe can get it done, and Mike has won a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Give me that kind of guy that is showing me he's consistently here. And at some point in time, I'm going to bet that eventually his program and what he's doing can get us where we want to go. So many times I think people hit that eject button and it's like, Jay Wright at Villanova had a couple things where he was knocking on the door too, finally got through. Yeah. I was in Cleveland with Bill Belichick and I said the most dumb asinine thing when he got fired. This guy will never win a Super Bowl. I said that and said, I bet you a rent payment.
No, you did.
Yes, I did.
No, you did.
Yes, I did. Glad ain't no tape. Glad I can say it. Ain't no tape.
No, you did.
Send that man a check for, what was about $1,300 right. My rent was back then. No, it was like $6 something. But yes. So, and what do we see? The guy. Yeah, I didn't own no home back then in Cleveland. But we have seen where coaches can get better.
Yeah, that's facts.
Here's a guy who has won a Super Bowl that I would say, give me this. There were a lot of people who thought Andy Reid, when he left Philadelphia, shouldn't go straight to go coach Kansas City, see it. The guy got there. Pete Carroll eventually figured it out for himself, man. And I'm not saying that Mike is going to do exactly what Belichick did or Tom Landry, but with what he's doing right now, I would put my chips there. And having seen some of these other great coaches, I would tell you, give me a guy who keeps knocking on this door, and I'll take my chances there before I go out here in this marketplace and I don't know what I am going to get right now.
So it's similar to the Dak Prescott approach, if you look at it like that. If would you rather be the consistent guy that's always going to be there or the unknown? Right? When you talk about going through the draft or free agency, and they chose the consistent guy, which is Dak Prescott, and in my opinion was the right move. I think Mike McCarthy is one heck of a coach. Let me put that out there to begin with. I believe he's one heck of a coach. Only thing I'm saying is I can see both sides. I can see why the Jones sides are saying, hey, we want to pump the brakes before we get you here a little bit long term, just to see if you can do what we brought you in here to do, which is get us over the hump in the postseason. But I can also see why it's disrespectful for McCarthy. Hey, 3 straight 12-win seasons. I'm always having y'all in the postseason. Where's my contract as well? I can see that from both sides.
So heck, here's the wildest thing. Okay, we just saw Mike McCarthy go dismantle Kevin Stefanski's team. Stefanski set up here, got contract extension. He got more security than Mike McCarthy.
Exactly. He did.
Who would you rather have right now as a head coach?
100%. Mike. 100%.
Right. I mean, that's the part. I mean, if you go around this league right now and you just say, hey, this is a better coach than him.
Amen.
It ain't gonna take long to call the roll to get to him. You could say a Mike Tomlin. You could say Andy Reid. You could point to a Kyle Shanahan, but Kyle Shanahan has not won a Super Bowl. You may want to say a Sean McVay, but you get what I'm saying here, man. It's not many dudes, a John Harbaugh in Baltimore, but there's not many guys that you're saying right now are better. And, oh, by the way, he's calling his own plays. Yeah. This team got better when he became the play. Sorry about your boy Kellen Moore.
Yeah, he looked good week 1, though.
Okay.
He sure did. He sure did. But I mean, going back to what you're saying, and I think the disrespect is really what you're talking about, because it looks to me like you're a coach that is 3 straight 12-5 seasons. You shouldn't be in this predicament. But you go back, history tells you, like guys like Dan Reeves, former Cowboy player Dan Reeves, that at the Broncos, when they got them to the Super Super Bowl, but then they three Super Bowls. I mean, imagine that. You get the 3 Super Bowls, you lose, and it's like they replace you with Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan comes in and
it was Wade Phillips.
Huh?
It was Wade.
But Mike Shanahan also.
Shanny was after Wade.
Okay. But I'm saying you bring in another coach that leads them to a Super Bowl.
Look at Tony Dungy.
Now, that's what I'm saying. Like it's situations like that where, as an organization, and you look at the history of it, you're like, now, look, if this guy can't get it done, I may be able to bring in another piece that can. Just play the devil's advocate on the situation. That's all I'm doing.
Okay,
and got to the next level.
Let me give you a little context on Dan Reeves. This is how he got himself fired. He drafted a dude from here named Tommy Maddox in the first round. And John Elway was none too happy. And then you ain't out here winning like you used to. And you know what John said? John pulled LeBron. Got to go to the owner.
You got to go this way, yeah.
And sure enough, bye. I mean, so this, messing with and John Elway just wasn't a play. John Elway was an icon in the Rocky Mountain region. Yeah. And the owner was like, I'm ride with him, Yeah. And so I was like, when I looked at Dan, like, that probably wasn't the play. It was like when Belichick got rid of Bernie Kosar, man, he lost the fans, You losing the fans. And of course, John Elway was none too shy to let you know, I ain't like this. Yeah. This wasn't good. So,
but that's just an analogy to say that a different voice, maybe in a situation like that with a team that's ultra, uber talented, that you may be able to get more out of them in a situation with a different voice.
So, yeah, I mean, because I was younger at the time. But when Tony Dungy had his whole situation there in Tampa, did he take him to, was it 1 or 2 NFC championship games?
They lost a very close game to the St. Louis Rams in '99. Had a really bad call against Bert Emanuel. They probably could have won that game.
Oh man!
And so what's interesting about that is one year they were getting ready to hire Parcells, and he reneged at the end. Tony came back and ended up turning it around, and they started winning. And it got toward the end where it was like, hey, man, we can't get 20 points. Yeah. Offensively. We got a defense. And so they made the trade. They brought in John Gruden. Gruden ended up winning the Super Bowl. And then he started running the team and getting personnel, and
didn't work out from there.
I mean, Keyshawn Johnson would gladly tell you, this wasn't it.
But another great analogy, to show where a team was under previous leadership, they were successful. It's not like Tampa Bay by any stretch was a bad team. That defense was crazy, locking teams down. But it just seemed like Chucky came in and he got. That was just that.
He got 21 again.
He got it. That's all he needed. That's all he needed. I mean,
21 again.
But the team was so talented that you would ask yourself, like, how are they not winning it? How are they not getting there? And it was just a great disappointment each season. And here we are.
And we saw what Chucky did with the Raiders.
We saw what Chucky did with the Raiders.
Gave all that control. They gave control in Tampa Bay, let him start making decisions. Then, talk to Keyshawn, boy. He will gladly.
Don't talk to Keyshawn.
Warren Sapp. There's a list of guys that'll sit up here and tell you their issues with him, and the quarterbacks were never developed under him. There's a whole lot about it. Was the Chucky myth. Got a Super Bowl. Give you credit, like Barry Switzer. You got it done. We cannot take that away from you. But Tony also showed you when he went to Indianapolis that true. I am that coach. I can go get it done.
Very true.
But it's very hard. I just want to keep emphasizing. It's very hard to find the right guy. And when you have this type of winning and type of success, it's not going to be easy to just, okay, fine, Mike, we're going to go hire whoever and this young kid to do this or that. It's going to be a challenge. All right, let's get our last break in here. Let's dive into the draft class of the Dallas Cowboys and the way they performed against the Cleveland Browns with Hek'ma Harris and Barry Church. I'm Newy Squares Players Lounge, brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming on DallasCowboys.com radio.
To kick off the 2023 NFL season, Hugo Boss teamed up with the NFL and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection featuring hoodies, crews, t-shirts, polos, joggers, and more. The bold, unique apparel of the Boss NFL collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, at HugoBoss.com, and at Boss retail stores. #Be your own boss.
I'm Cowboys alumni, Danny McCray, here with Smoothie King asking, what's that sound? That's the sound of me sipping one of their Power Pack smoothies with over 10 grams of protein. with real fruits and organic veggies, because at Smoothie King, what you see is what you sip. So grab a delicious Smoothie King smoothie, throw a straw in your jaw, and get sipping real. Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Kyle Yeomans here, sharing that same team that brought you Buffalo, bringing NFL casino games that show America's team on and off the reels. Aristocrat is changing the game with a new experience. Football fans, this means you can pick your team and play your team. Check out the Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Gambling problem? Please contact the U.S. National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over.
Raising Cane's presents the other rules of football. Rule 1. Any broadcast without the express addition of cooked-to-order Cane's chicken fingers is prohibited. Rule 12. No crinkle-cut fries, Texas toast, or craveable Cane's sauce constitutes an illegal formation. And Rule 31. Anybody who loves to feed their game face is an eligible receiver of Cane's. When it comes to winning game day, Cane's rules. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love. Go Cowboys.
To the Players Lounge.
Come shop at the Star in Frisco on Saturday, September 28th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Freestyle Market at the Star, presented by Marketplace by Michaels, featuring 50-plus local makers, offers art, fashion, home decor, jewelry, and kids' item. Markets at the Star is always a favorite. Admission is free. Visit thestardistrict.com for more information.
Hek'ma Harrison, thank you very much. Players Lounge brought to you by Aristocrat Gaming. You got Barry Church here, former Cowboys safety. I'm Newy Scruggs. Cowboys getting ready to take on the New Orleans Saints, the opener at Jerry World. Both teams are undefeated. Both teams dominating in their first victories of the year. Carolina getting dragged by the Saints 47-10.
I don't like him, man. Drug.
Yeah, I hit up one of my friends who works over there. They're like, yeah, man, it's gonna be a long year. And then the Cowboys took apart the Cleveland Browns 33-17. One thing, and I talked about this on my report for Channel 5. After the Browns got that field goal, the next 10 possessions, 6 punts, 2 interceptions, and got the ball over on downs twice. That was the next 10 possessions.
That was nuts. That
is taking the woodshed to somebody, man.
Yeah.
I mean that's crazy, man. Next 10, nothing, man. That was impressive. And then, of course, the Browns, you start looking at them on third down, 2 of 11, 18.2%. We were concerned about, their ability to run the ball, 35 yards of rushing.
That's bad news.
No, this was one of those truly awful performances, and I understand they didn't have their tackles, and Micah Parsons was very kind afterwards talking about that and saying, Deshaun's still a tough guy to get down, and they're going to be better. But, bro, this, ooh.
They have the same agent.
So
that's what that is. Nothing else to say.
He'll be back, man.
You know what?
He'll be back.
You know what?
I have to. That's a little.
You know what, man?
You're teaching me well.
You know what? You're right. It's all in the family. But he got his 230.
Yeah.
Watson's
he's straight regardless.
It's guaranteed 230. You say whatever you want to about. But yeah, you're right.
But the thing for me, when we rattle off those stats, man, going back to what you were just talking about, the last time you saw the Dallas Cowboys, Jones was running all over him, and that was all that was in your mind headed into this game. We were talking about forward. We're like, all right, they don't have Nick
sleep on him.
Yeah, you can't sleep on him, and the guy behind him, and the guy behind him, because they're going to find a way to have some success. You knew who was on the injury report. Yeah. You knew that Wills wasn't going to be able to play, and none of that mattered, because it just seems like any team can plug and play a running back and can get downhill on the Cowboys in a hurry. This game, it was the complete opposite. Now, can Coach Zimmer maintain that effort on defense? And I think that obviously bringing in a guy that is known to neutralize the running game was beneficial to this team.
That's huge. And then when you talk about Parsons, what he's able to do, that's the type of game. If he can do that consistently, then you start talking about, Defensive Player of the Year awards. When a guy can go out there and not only, get after the quarterback the way he did with 9 pressures, but affect the run. Bat passes in the air that leads to interceptions. That's what you love to see when you're talking about a Parsons guy out there like that for the Defensive Player of the Year award. But, another fact going towards McCarthy is like you said, he stayed within himself and he didn't put this team at risk. Look at what the Browns did. Like, you're known for being a physical downhill team. They ran the ball, I believe, what was it, 12 or sometime? Yeah. Towards the end, they started giving it a little bit more.
They got away from it completely.
Like the first, second series, it was like, all right, it's on to you, Deshaun.
They did end up with 93 yards, but the competitive phase of the football game, you talk about the first 3 quarters, man, ended up with 35. Fourth quarter was like, hey.
They just went away from it quick.
Yeah. And I think that when you have a defense that's making you abandon the running game, that was, it wasn't because they wanted to, it was because they couldn't. Mm-hmm. And so, like you, and I agree wholeheartedly with you on what you said about the missile. If he can continue this effort for the next 16 games, and he was everywhere.
Well, yes, but
Newy.
But okay, here's the but. They were missing their 2 tackles, and even he said it after the game. And what are you supposed to go do against some backups? You're supposed to go there and whoop that trick. That's what he did. Gonna be a little different. Gonna be a little bit different going along. And he said that. That's what he said. And then he said, "Man, I probably missed 3 sacks." But he also talked about, "Hey, I missed those 3 sacks because Deshaun's a tough guy to get down." He was good after the game, but he was what you're supposed to be. You got a mismatch. You know, you're going against Akron. You're supposed to go out there and take across the zips, man. Hey,
man, what you got against Akron, man? What you doing?
I was right down the road.
All right, come on, man. You know all that from Akron, man. What you doing?
Cleveland State or something, man.
Cleveland State ain't got no football team. I wasn't going to say Northern Illinois because they beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's true. Shout out to the Mac for that. You see what the Mac was able to do out there.
I know, man. I know. It's black on black crime. Black coach.
Unbelievable.
Before Marcus Robinson getting killed, I asked Steve Berline. He's like, man, I was there, man. It's not good, man.
Marcus had to write that check, didn't he?
Man, 1.4. Here, come beat us. Come beat us.
Hek'ma Harrison, thank you. Barry Church, thank you. Chris Beam, Jazz, everybody's a part of this. This is Players Lounge brought to you by Aristocrat Game. We'll do it tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!